So I'm Matt Dorgan. I'm actually the founder and president of Building Bridges for Brianna. We're a suicide awareness organization here in York, PA. And we're just kind of trying to break the stigma around mental health. You know, we want people to know it's okay to not be okay. We just can't stay that way. So today we have Mary and Jeff. They're with us. We just want to have some open, candid conversations about mental health and how people live with it, you know, day in, day out. You know, so we can help others, you know, to make sure they're okay as well. So, Mary, you want to kind of give a little introduction about yourself?
My name is Mary Peterson, and I've been dealing with my mental health journey has been about 12 years long so far. Started around 2009, and I've been diagnosed with major depressive disorder, general anxiety disorder, and ADHD. The journey started after a abusive relationship, emotionally abusive relationship, with a covert narcissist. And it wasn't until 2 years later in 2009 that I was severely depressed, and Jeff and I had just met that same year, and I felt the need to call out to a therapist.
Well, that's good.
And that is where my journey started. I started with therapy and eventually started taking medication. I am definitely pro meds. I am also pro holistic measures, as sometimes in the world of psychology and psychiatry, as far as meds are concerned, they sometimes go unchecked as far as interactions with your health meds, the medications that you take on a daily basis for your blood pressure or your hormones, your thyroid, anything like that. And it's really important to keep that in balance.
Right. So, Jeff, how is it living with somebody with mental health, and how does it affect you?
Well, the problem is, it starts out with working together. You got to realize, when we found each other, I was already connected to Mary even before we got married, and my thing is, I can be there for her, hold her hands, hug her. Depression comes in, and it comes in waves. When it's sometimes unexpected, and you have to react really quick, really fast, but you also have to be calm for the other person, right? So it's changed me a lot too, meaning that I want to take care of her. I want to take care of other people. I don't stand by and watch someone who needs help and walk away. I want to help, or I can want to find them help, or find the person I can find to direct them to.
Absolutely. He mentioned sometimes the episodes come on really quick. How do you find yourself handling those and dealing with those on a daily basis?
They do, most recently, they have been coming on very quickly, to where I feel I don't have control. And usually it's with my frustration levels. However, I can calm down very quickly just by knowing that he's there. His hugs, his touch, the words that he says, that safety.
It's okay. That's one of those things you always got to be open up about it and take time.
This is part of the process. I embrace it because I'm sappy by nature anyway, and I'm very emotional. But that safety of how I feel when I'm in that moment of panic, and dread is worth more than any medication on the planet. And it's so important.
Absolutely.
And me, on top of that, in that moment, expressing exactly how I am feeling and letting him know that what he's doing is comforting me.
Right.
Now, we've been practicing it for 13 years now. We've been together. It takes practice. It takes patience with each other, and it takes a lot of strength to get those words out when you're out in the middle of a panic attack.
Right.
There is so much in just a touch that can literally mean the difference between life and death.
Absolutely. And sometimes our job is just to listen, too. You know, that's all sometimes people need, and you probably knew that more than anybody, just somebody to listen. I mean, you've called me at times. You know, you've called Amber, you've called, you know, Jeff, just out of the blue, just to talk. Our job is strictly to listen.
Yeah.
You know, and open up. How do you feel you handle when she calls? Do you know right away, or do you kind of piece it together a little bit?
Oh, I kind of get it right away. I see it. Most of the time, I see it. There's times where it comes out of the blue, and you just have to be prepared. And you put your big boy pants on, and you go take care of whatever's wrong, and you have to comfort. But you also have to realize, just because you think you know what you're doing, and you're doing what you're doing, are two different things.
Absolutely.
I sit there, hold her, comfort her, but I also tell her to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let all that come, because we'll work through it together, because that is part of what you have to do. That's part of the process of moving on. And that's what everyone needs to learn and to know, that your patience, your caring, your love for the other person, wife, husband, son, daughter, you can feel that. And you have to let it out. As much as she's letting out, you have to let out that confidence, that love, that caring, patience, everything out, as much as she is letting out of her.
Exactly. I mean, you guys heard me talk a bunch of times with Building Bridges for Brianna. One of the things I say all the time is our job is just to listen. If that's all we can do, because we're not trained, person might not be certified in mental health, something like that, but the community's job is really just to listen, you know, so people know it's okay not to be okay, you know, and when you could be walking through the grocery store and just something hits you, but if you can't feel like you can open up and talk, it could be somebody else there that knows exactly what you're going through, and they just check in. And I just find it kind of hard now that we have that stigma around mental health. Right? Still.
Yeah.
I mean, we've taken barriers down on it, but it's still, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to accept it. And do you find that a lot when you're going through an issue or you're helping her out? Do you see that? Do you feel that way of, man, what are people going to think about me with having a mental health issue?
As vocal as I am to my friends and my family, and even more so in the last 6 months, that I have actually said, you know what, I've been reaching out more and saying, you know what, I am not doing okay. And just knowing that the people that I can reach out to, which includes Building Bridges, helps me to become more comfortable, more courageous in taking that mask off. and saying, you know what? Here are my tears.
Absolutely.
Here is my hurt. Here's my pain in this moment.
Absolutely. And it takes a lot of courage to do that.
That's
It
another
does.
thing. That's another thing. It takes courage for a person to admit that.
Mm-hmm.
And taking that courage and letting your courage out gives other people courage. And it encourages other people. It encourages people who don't know that, hey, she's not afraid to let go of her feelings. And I'm from the generation of keep everything in your inside. Men don't cry. Men don't show any emotion. So you got to get over that and let go of that and be prepared to go, hey, look, I'm human. I can do it too.
Oh, yeah.
And people, they understand. They'll understand that.
Yeah, I remember when I was 23 years old, I graduated from the police academy. I was in probably the best shape of my life. Just
One hot stuff, yeah.
I was like, I'm unstoppable. Man, was I wrong. It was, I think my second week, one of the first calls was actually a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Yeah.
So I walk into the hospital, person was just pronounced deceased and was opened up, and I walk in. It was the first traumatic experience I ever dealt with. I've never seen somebody deceased, never saw somebody opened up, and my legs got weak. I almost fell down, got lightheaded, didn't even know how to do my job.
Right.
And then I had started getting flashbacks from it. Like here I am, 23 years old, and now I'm dealing with it. And I had to learn, okay, it's okay to ask for help, and get out there to talk about it. It's definitely, and it took a lot of courage to do it too, just like you are talking about it, because, we've had conversations multiple times about what's going on and when you reached out and stuff like that. It takes a lot of courage, so I really appreciate you, reaching out.
I appreciate you listening.
So, like I said, that's our job.
Yeah, that's what we have to do.
Exactly. So how does Building Bridges for Brianna kind of help you out? Because you kind of been on with us almost from the beginning. You come to almost every one of our events and help out, and anything that we need. The first person to call is hey, let's see if Mary's available.
And I do answer that call happily, and it's kind of self-serving in a way. I'm a little selfish with that because it makes me feel really good to talk to those parents of children that they know are performing self-injurious behaviors, who have come to them and said, I don't have a plan, but, and in talking to them is, it's healing for me as well, because I can open up about my own path and I can speak to them from experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just opening of hearts and minds and communicating on a human level that we are not alone.
Right.
They are not alone. It's not an us and they. It's not if you're suicidal, you're all by yourself. I may not have or ever had so far the ideation, but I know what it's like to have those voices in your head talking to yourself all day long, and you just want them to shut up. And that's not very far from just wanting to end it.
All right.
And I think if people understood better that it's all about the noise in the head, and just getting that to stop. That it's important to talk about, well, what are you saying to yourself on a daily basis?
Right.
How do you replace those words of, I'm not worth it, I'm not enough? How do you trick yourself into thinking, you know what, I am enough. I am worth it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think a lot of it is people are too scared to open up, so they feel that they're alone because they have all these thoughts in their head and they have nobody to talk to about it.
Because
Yeah.
the last thing I want to do is ruin your day because I'm having a hard day.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to take his joy if he's having a really good day, because mine sucked.
Right.
But at the same time, I know if I don't let it out, nothing's going to improve. If I don't talk about it,
Exactly.
those ideas can't be exchanged in a way that can help me and can help others. You know what? I didn't think about that. That sounds like a great idea. You know, it really comes down to self-care, being self-aware, and screaming at the top of your lungs
Mm-hmm.
when you feel that you have no voice,
Exactly.
and you keep screaming because it's so important.
Absolutely. Because I remember for our large June fundraiser event, that we have at, Dallastown Lions Park, every year, we had probably 1,500, 2,000 people last year, and you were one of the shuttle drivers for the golf carts. And I remember talking to you after it of how much that impacted you, and with having those conversations with people that they didn't realize some of the resources that were leaving, and they didn't realize this many people actually cared, that they actually felt they're alone. And I mean, is that about right? I mean, that was kind of the gist of our conversation.
Oh yeah. That I had been really struggling at that moment, and driving people back and forth brought me so much joy and made my day so much better.
Oh yeah.
And it wasn't the driving and the wind in my hair because it was really hot,
It was hot that day.
but it was those conversations. It was the girl that made this bracelet for suicide awareness and mental health, putting it on my wrist and me not taking it off since. It's those moments that make it worth it and are so vital and important. Some people, they just needed to talk.
Mm-hmm.
One of my last rides out was this guy who saw his wife suffer, and he didn't know what to do. He thought it was a her problem, not a we problem.
Yep.
So in me sharing my story with him, brought him some understanding and some
Absolutely.
clarity into that relationship that he felt bad that it ended because of his ignorance on mental health and his unwillingness to open up about it.
Yep. And that's one of the things that we try to do to separate ourselves, Building Bridges for Brianna, from some of the other organizations, that we try to have those open conversations. I mean, I remember our first year walking around, everybody was talking about mental health. Last year, the same thing. Everybody was talking about it. You really couldn't go anywhere. And it was a long day. It was 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's a long day, from literally the beginning at 10 o'clock till the end at 8 o'clock, and then even after that.
Yeah.
Because, of course, I get home and I got emails and I got Facebook messages from people just thinking to having that and getting people in touch. Because I even talked to one person, that event, that was really struggling but couldn't get in to be seen, for therapy. Because that is one of the struggles of getting people in.
Yes.
Well, we have some of the organizations there, and when we bring them in to kind of partner with them, it's, hey, look, we're probably going to get some people that are really struggling and need to talk now, but it might not be enough to go to crisis intervention and go to inpatient, but they need to talk now, or it's going to lead into that. And they're like, okay, you bring them over to us, we will fast track them in and see what we can do of getting them to help. And we've had some people being seen 2 weeks after, where before it was 6 to 8 months
Yeah.
before they're
Right.
going to get seen. Now they're getting seen at least within a couple weeks. You know, so I think that's one of the things that kind of separates us a little bit from some of the other ones.
Well, and even, having most of my career as, a frontline office worker in behavioral health, I have experience with seeing people and their ups and downs, and the struggle we had getting people in a timely fashion. And the pandemic has just made it worse.
Oh, absolutely. The pandemic definitely has made it worse, especially for the kids, because they got 2 years separated from school, which
They're stuck at home.
they're stuck at home, and
Stuck without seeing their friends. Isolation, yeah. So that's the hard part too. The thing about that, when Mary goes to your events, Bridges over Brianna, Mary comes home. I work weekends, every other weekend, so I can't make them all, but I try to. Mary comes home, bubbly, feeling good about herself, driving the cart around, taking everyone everywhere, talking to people. She found so much strength in that, taking in conversation, letting conversations out to people, and I find strength in that,
absolutely.
where I go, that satisfied my wife, where I was not there. And sometimes I actually do worry about Mary on her daily events, on going out, getting outside again. That was a hard issue with the both of us. We got stuck inside with the COVID, and we had issues with just passing time along without being able to go anywhere. So, and that was the hard part. So she reached out, called people, and we did our thing. We hung out and we did things, and I find so much strength from that, making sure that I give out the most positive thing I can get, even if I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
I can have the worst day ever. Bad day at work, bad day getting to work, coming from work, because I drive 30 minutes to get to work every day. And I want to let go that joy, because it brings other people's joy. Even everything from saying hi to somebody. I'm passing you by, hey, how are you? Have a great day, I'll see you later. I won't see this person ever again. But but the point is to say, look, you matter. You're walking, you matter. I matter. We matter.
all matter.
It's okay to say hello, and it's okay to.
You never know by saying that hello how you're going to impact somebody's life.
Yeah, I've had that.
It's true.
And that's with my job. I have people coming up to me and say, Jeff, you're so bubbly, you're so fun, and you're so always in a good mood. How do you do it? You just have to work a little bit,
Yep.
just a little bit, and feel the confidence that you need, and feel the confidence that you deserve.
Absolutely.
And because once again, everybody matters.
Everybody matters.
So take care of that next person beside you on the right, and take care of that person on the left. The next person will do the same thing, or it'll pass that along. Don't feel afraid to pass on joy.
Exactly.
Have fun with somebody. Have a conversation with a total stranger about nothing.
Yeah. You just talk about nothing. You know.
I've done that all the time. We've stopped out and dinner, restaurants, and I kick a conversation with the opposite table. Next thing I know, it's an hour later, and I feel good. The couple feels good. Mary kind of like, I got to go to work tomorrow.
Right.
But she likes it too. So just pass that on.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. And I see that makes me feel a lot better. Feels really good to
Nice.
do that.
Well, I really appreciate you guys kind of coming on and really opening up. I mean, I know it took a lot for you to kind of talk about everything that you're dealing with. You got a great support system.
I do.
You know,
I'm very lucky.
yeah. So just keep fighting, you know. As Brianna said, keep fighting. I believe in you and you're a star. You know, just keep going with it.
Oh, I plan on it. I'm very hard to shut up,
Fair enough.
as you well know.
I see it too. Don't worry, I see it too.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I really appreciate you guys coming on.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
This was fun.
So we will be doing several more videos upcoming to kind of really break that stigma, you know, to let people know it's okay not to be okay. We just can't stay that way, and how we actually move forward in life dealing with mental health and what kind of resources are out there. So, and just forget, we also have several events coming up. We have our October 30th event at John Wright Park, our John Wright restaurant. We have over 130 vendors. We have some food trucks. It's going to be a great event. You know, all proceeds are going back to Building Bridges for Brianna so we can do more into the community. We also have our June event that we already started planning that I think is going to be a lot bigger than last year. That will be on June 24th in Lions Park. We're going to have food trucks, vendors, live music. We actually booked some really good entertainment for this year. So really appreciate everybody kind of viewing. If you guys are interested in being on to talk about mental health, please reach out to us at info@bb4bpa.org, and we will schedule and get you guys to come on, and we can just openly talk about mental health. So I really appreciate it, and thank you.